stamping friends, it's Sherry Parker coming to you tonight from Mason, Ohio. It's Wednesday, January 17th. Hard to believe we're midway through January already. It's feeling like it here in Ohio. Super cold, not real pleasant, and so I'm really excited that tomorrow I'm actually leaving to go to Florida to celebrate one of my good friends' birthday, just a big milestone, and we're going to Florida just for the weekend. Might be chilly there as well, but not quite as bad as Ohio. So I'm going to be real quick tonight. I wanted to show you just a really cute card, elegant, minimal stamping, and quick, which a lot of times that's what I'm going for. So I will not bore you with talking. I will get right to it tonight and show you this real fun card. So I'll turn the camera over. All right, I feel like I've been showing this constantly, this mini catalog. It just released in January. A lot of really cute stuff in here. And tonight is no different. I'm going to focus on the Nature's Sweetness bundle. If you are familiar with this mini catalog, you might have seen that. And if you're not familiar with it, let me know. I'd be happy to send you one. This just is available through the end of April. Really cute seasonal stuff. So I will put that aside and let you know that tonight we'll be using the Nature's Sweetness bundle, but all that we'll actually be using is the paper. The Designer Series paper is just gorgeous. It's neutral with gold tones and taupes and white and very elegant. So I thought tonight we could make a card. I've made some fun, cute cards the last several weeks. But sometimes the occasion you might need something more elegant, more serious. So I thought this would be a really good paper to use, and we'll hero the paper. There's minimal stamping tonight in what we're gonna make. So in this sweet collection, there are two actual bundles with stamps and die cuts, some really cool leather trim, as well as cork embellishments there. But I really, really fell in love with this Designer Series paper. I wanted to show it to you. So there are 12 sheets in a pack, so 2 each of 6 designs, and they're double-sided. So therein lies the dilemma, because sometimes you like both sides and you have to cover one up. Or if you do a fun fold, maybe you don't have to cover it up. But I will just show you a few of the patterns. Super, super pretty golds, and then Pebbled Path, that's one of our in colors. That's a taupe color, very pretty, and then white. And then there's also just a few little hints of the pecan pie brown in this Designer Series paper. So there's some of the patterns, and then here's a few of the other patterns as well. So you can see how it's real pretty. There's a script, there's gold, type, just really, really nice colors. And then there is one sheet here, I've cut mine, but there's a large design there that you could literally just cut out and put onto a card base, and you'd have a card. You could color it or watercolor or anything like that, or you could leave it as is. So really easy to make cards. Tonight, we are going to make these 2 cards. So you can see that there's minimal stamping, as I mentioned. We're featuring the Designer Series paper. It's beautiful, so why not make that be the star of the show? So we'll go ahead and get started, and we'll start by making this one here. So, as I always say, it's hard picking which side of paper you want. But I tend to gravitate towards the golds and the taupes. So the ones I picked out for these cards, the patterns are just this kind of gold leaf one, the script, and then the taupe flower. But if you look on the other side, I really do like this type with the gold blobs, and they're all really pretty papers. So I cut a strip here, and I'm going to first, all I'm doing is cutting out the 3 squares. And you could use a punch, or in this case I'm going to be using the Perennial Postage die cuts. So this is a suite that's in that mini catalog I just showed you. It's on page 25, I think it is, and it comes with this die cut set and the words. Love these words, very nice. Could use them for a lot of different occasions. So tonight I'm just using one of the die cuts, this one here, but you can see how they all nest and lots of sizes to pick from, as well as some other cute little die cuts, ticket, little fake mailing stamp, really cute. So we'll go ahead and get started. And typically with designer series paper, if there's not a pattern, it doesn't really matter which direction you have it in. This one has a script, so I want to make sure that when I'm cutting it out, it reads correctly. Otherwise, it might look kind of funny. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. Little tip, if you're cutting out designer series paper, it is thinner than our cardstock. And in this case, I'm going to be cutting out 3 at one time with one roll through the die cut machine. If you have a really intricate cutting die cut, that might not be possible. Sometimes there's little intricacies and it's way too fine for you to run more than one sheet of paper through at a time. But for this particular shape, I'm going to run all 3 through at the same time. So I will go ahead and position those in my mini die cut machine here. Hopefully you can see that okay. Make our sandwich there. And then, oops, kind of moved it there. Roll it through. All right, sounds like it's breaking, but it's not, I promise. Oops, everything's flying away. But you can see I went through all 3 layers real easily. So we'll go ahead and set that aside. And we'll just assemble the card. The other thing I like to use in cards is typically I'll either use an embossing folder like this one, or I'll use the designer series paper. This is a really cool embossing folder called Painted Texture. It's a 3D one. It looks just like somebody put, you know, a bunch of paint on a canvas, and it's very, it goes with anything, honestly. So I thought it would be a really cool background to use for this card. So I've got basic white as our card base here. And then the Pebbled Path cardstock, I did run through that embossing folder. And we'll adhere that to the front of the card. Pretty simple. I love this taupe color. I think I want to paint my house kind of this color. I really like that color a lot. So real easy there. And now we've got our 3, here's the card here to show you. We've got our 3 rectangles that we cut out. And I'm going to put the gold one in the center, I think, just because it will help balance the other ones. So typically if you're doing something like this, you could measure. I'm not usually that precise. And hey, Sandy, I know, right? This paper is really pretty. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. So I typically will do the center first, and I eyeball it. You could actually measure. Put a couple dimensionals down, and make sure it's right side up. Knowing me, I'd put it upside down and send it out to somebody. Who's ever made a backwards card? I've certainly done that a number of times. All right, so for the third one, I will position that to the right of the center, and there you go. The basic card is more or less done. So for the greeting, I just took a scrap of this white cardstock here, and I showed you that the perennial postage, the stamp set that coordinates with the dies, and the I'm here for you always. This could be really appropriate for just someone who might be ill, or sympathy, or just thinking of you. Just a nice sentiment. Oh, I didn't stamp that very straight. Turn it over. Right? There, that's a little bit better. So, hey, there's 2 sides to every piece of paper, and I'm not too proud to say I always turn them over. So anyway, measure. Nah, that's right, Cheryl. Who measures, right? So again, you could put this onto your card like that, but I really love, this is a really cool punch here. It's the Banner's Pick-a-Punch. So there's 2 different ends. You can have a pointy end, or if you want more of like the indented banner, It's really cute and simple to use. You get basically 2 in 1. I'm going to use the banner end. Yes, you could snip it by hand, but I never seem to get them even when I do that, so I like having the sponge to do that. So let me go ahead and adhere this to the front. Actually, I'm going to just put the dimensionals on for now, but because I'm going to put some ribbon underneath there. The gold trim is really pretty, and I think it looks nice with this designer series paper also. So I'm going to just put a little bit of adhesive down, and we're just going to stick some ribbon, and I'm going to loop it. You've probably seen this done. Just kind of loop it back and forth. You could tie a bow if you wanted. And this piece that I cut's about, it was about, I don't know, 12 to 16 inches, I guess. So you could go a little shorter if you wanted. And then I'll situate this greeting right over top like that. So then your gold cord is just kind of tucked behind there like that. You could leave it like that. Or if you wanted to add one extra little touch, I really do like these, the adhesive back sequins. This is the neutrals pack, so there's golds, I think there's copper and pearl color. Really nice, and a little goes a long way. So I'm gonna put one on the greeting here, put one down here. You could put as many of these as you wanted. You could even stick another one, you know, up on the top like that. And then you're done. Pretty simple. So taking the same basic idea, we'll go ahead and make the second card. Same squares, but we're just changing up how we do the basic layout here. So we'll do a vertical card. We'll use the pebbled path as our background. So the base of the card is the pebbled path. And for a dark card like this, you would probably want to put a piece of a light cardstock or white inside, just so you could write something in there. So this is just 5 1/4 by 4, and that fits perfectly. It makes a nice little border for the inside of your card. You could even stamp something in there too if you wanted. Scooch this over so I'm a little bit more centered there. So, oops, get talking and I scooched it over. Not to worry. All right. Okay, and then for the front, we'll get the same 3D embossing folder, that painted texture. Again, this goes with anything. So that's why I really like it, because it's not, you know, matchy-matchy, but it's just a nice texture. So it really gives a little bit of pizzazz to anything. So I'll go ahead and adhere this to the front. And don't get me wrong, I like matchy-matchy too. But if you're looking for some just basic things to have on hand, something like this is great because it provides a nice texture without having to necessarily coordinate with something. Hi, Donna. Hi, Naomi. All right, so I don't bore you and use the big embossing folder again. I went ahead and cut these out with that same die cut. So this one we're going to be positioning vertically, but these will be positioned horizontally. So I've got, and that's the script, so we want to make sure it's reading left to right. So I'll position these like so, and adhere those with dimensionals like we did the last time. I love using dimensionals. Really, I don't know that I ever make a card without them, if we're being honest. Same idea, just I start with the center and work outwards. You have a better shot of it being centered with even borders if you do it that way. Anytime I try to line it up like from top to bottom, inevitably I mess up and they're not evenly spaced. Not that it matters a ton, but if you want it to look lined up. All right, so we've got our vertical rectangles there. And now all we're gonna do is, same that we did before, we'll put some gold cord here, and then we'll do a greeting. For this greeting, I have a little scrap here. I wanted something more vertical, and so this Something Fancy stamp set has a few different greetings that are more of the vertical layout. So I picked this one here, and let's see if I can get this centered. Probably not. Oh, that's not too bad. Sometimes I do. And then I cut this backer with that same postage rectangle from that same set here. I'll adhere that and let that one dry for a second. And we'll do our gold cord. Put some adhesive down here. And again, probably 12 to 16 inches if you want a few different loops. And it's super simple, just lay it down, do a loop, go up, do a loop, go down, just like that. And then we'll go ahead and adhere this over top to hide the midpoint. And anytime you're trying to straddle it between something with some depth there, I would put a dimensional on either side. That way you're not rocking it right on top of the gold cord. So we'll center it just like that. How simple is that? So we're done. We made these 2 cards in 15 minutes. So it's my kind of card. And the nice thing is, again, you can use your designer series paper, use the scraps, and create really simple, beautiful cards. You don't have to get crazy. Oh, I did forget the sequins, didn't I? I do like to add a little bit of bling usually. You don't have to, of course, but it's kind of fun to add a few. This is kind of random. All right. I did want to mention too, if you are interested in ordering, again, I never like anyone to feel pressured, obligated, but my website is sherrythomas.stampinup.net, and the hose code for January is this number here, 2QM6QVYK. So I would encourage you, and then you can just place an order online. It comes to you, and super simple. All right, that's all I've got tonight. Again, I got to get packing. We've got this fun girls trip for our friend Lisa, who's having a birthday. Well, she had it yesterday, so at Stamp Club. So we all celebrated with her. But we're heading out to Florida tomorrow, so I'm going to let you go. Thank you for joining me. Please share this or comment. And these cards, I will every week. I send them out. Last week we had Joyce and Marion were our winners, so you know it could be you. So thanks again. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I appreciate you. Good night.